Legend of Total War here, and today I want to try to cool things down a little bit because things are starting to get overheated, I think, with the discussion within the community across everywhere, from YouTube comments to Twitter to various forums. It's no longer polite feedback. It's now getting a bit unhinged, and this is definitely not what I wanted to see. And I may have contributed a bit to it, and I want to take accountability and say I'm sorry and address it. And I think I know where it went wrong, because all I'm going to do is read the comments on this video here to know where people took issue. So just going through this, with this video here that I made, it got 170,000 views. That is vastly more than what I would normally get off reading off a blog. I didn't really put much time or effort into this. I just read it once, and then I hit record and then went, yeah, this blog is just shit, basically. And that's usually, as far as my audience expects of me, right? That's usually what you expect, right? And I was not careful in my language. And I have to be careful because I am in a position of power, because I have the power to cause a lot of outrage, basically. And sometimes it happens accidentally, and sometimes it happens on purpose. But yeah, I'm sorry about that. Specifically with this bit here, a lot of people do care about the ins and outs of what's going wrong with the AI. And I said, we don't care. And I shouldn't have said that. It's very important to use as accurate language as possible. And what I should have said was, I don't care about it. Because anyone is allowed to care or not care about anything whatsoever. And it doesn't matter. You can't police taste or people caring about stuff. And so if anyone wants to ever go at me for not caring about this, I feel like that's ridiculous. But if you want to ever go at me saying, but I do care about this, you shouldn't just lump me in within that group. I understand that. I agree. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I try to be more careful. And I appreciate the fact that you called me out. See, that's what accountability is really supposed to be. It's really not that difficult to just be like, oh, fuck, I fucked up. You're right. And I'll try to be more careful next time. You see, by doing that, I'm going to be more careful, and so that I don't make the same mistake again. And this is the crux of the problem with what I have with this. They're not addressing the problem that I really had with all of this, and why I just sort of gave up on Total War. It's not because I don't love the games. It's because I'm fed up with the trajectory that this company appears to be going in. And since it seems very likely that the next Total War game is Total War Warhammer 40k, the Total War Warhammer fan base is pretty chill. 40k is not. I mean, just go and check to see what they're arguing about right now. It's like they're at each other's throats over fucking nothing, right? Compared to what we've got. So if the company doesn't change its decision-making processes and it allows for shit like this to occur, what do you think is going to happen with 40k? It's going to be a fucking nightmare. It's one of the primary reasons why I'm just not going to stick around for it, because it's I might buy Total War Warhammer 40k. If it's good, I'll buy it. But I don't want to come back to making content during it, because every time the Creative Assembly makes a tiny mistake, I don't want to be caught in the middle of a fucking nightmare storm, but with a shitload more people that are way more rabid than the Warhammer Fantasy fans are tame by comparison. And yeah, I'm just not keen on that. So there's a few people that have taken issue with some of the things that I've been saying, and I want to sort of clarify what my positions are on all of this, because I don't think they've been properly informed about what my positions are, and I'm getting judged for the actions of I'm getting judged for other people's actions because I'm the cause of their actions. But I'm not specifically telling them to do that. It's I'm indirectly responsible. But that just, you can't lump everyone into just one category. Everyone's going to do things slightly different and have different reasons for any particular outrage. There's outrage over the bug. There's outrage over the management. And then there's outrage over the outrage. It gets a bit ridiculous when everybody is at each other's throats over one outrageous thing or another. And I think that it's fine to be outraged for whatever reason you want, but you bring the temperature down a little bit and just have a discussion about it, and not flip out of control, which is, we'll get to it in a minute. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, just reiterating on this again, I'm sorry. You are completely right. Those of you who took issue with me for this, you were right. I was completely dismissive of that. This is fairly interesting for most people, I'm sure, but for me personally, I don't care because like I didn't care in the first place. So let's go back to the like what my original position was and why all of this has started. I was playing Medieval 2 on a live stream, having fun, right? Just chatting with you guys. Love it. I'll do it again soon. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see how we go. I schedule and stuff. And some people came onto the live stream and said, hey, have you seen the new AI problems with... Well, they're not new. Have you seen the AI problems for Lizardman? And I dismissed it. And I felt bad about it because I shouldn't have done that. And so I went and checked it out. Spent about an hour playing some campaigns. And I was like, yeah, they got a point. I didn't thoroughly test it because I didn't really need to because it was pretty obvious from just 2 campaigns because it was consistent across that. And because a lot of other people were experiencing it as well. Like, I just don't think I need to spend 100 hours playtesting that to know, this is a problem. And what I said in that video, and you can go back and check this, I asked people, do you think that this is a problem? I was just asking a question. And everyone in the comment section could have said, no, this is not a big deal. Go back to playing Medieval 2. And then that would have just been the end of it. I do not have the power to create a shitstorm out of nothing. I don't have that power. As what some people might not realize is that I actually don't have control over my audience. In fact, I have had a very difficult time controlling my audience. Just look at my live streams. They don't do what I fucking tell them, okay? How my audience works, and you guys that are my audience know this, but people who are outside of it don't, is that we're not a hive mind. What I do is I simply explain to people what their options are, and then they just go and do it. So what I did in that video, I said, if you've got a problem with this AI problem, and it does seem as though Creative Assembly is not prioritizing it, because we looked over that information and I assessed that in the initial video, this is your options for getting them to pay attention to it. And I said, polite but firm discussion, go to the forums, go everywhere that you want, including the Steam reviews, and make your voice heard. And the most effective way ended up being the Steam reviews, which you've 23% now. You've got down to 23%, mostly negative. That's almost very negative. That's a lot. This is actually getting close to approaching Shadows of Change level of negativity. We'll get to that in a bit. But do you want to know something interesting? I didn't participate. I didn't post a negative review. I didn't do this. I didn't do it. I just told people what they can do. And for some reason, they're like, well, you shouldn't have told them that they could do that. Why not? People should have their voices heard. I've always tried to advocate for everyone to have their voices heard, even if I disagree with it. Because, again, I'm not really playing Warhammer 3. I didn't know about the AI bug because I wasn't playing the game. I had no intention of playing the game. And I even mentioned, I'm not playing the game, not because I don't like the game. It's because I got 9,000 hours in it. I'm just ready to move on to something else. I think that's okay. There are other things out there now. And if Creative Assembly wants to fumble the ball this badly all the time, that's cool if you want to tolerate that. That is totally cool. As I've said so many times before, Creative Assembly is only ever as good as you hold them accountable for. And from my perspective, they're pretty awful. They're a pretty awful company. Now, not everyone's going to agree with that, and it's totally fine. We're allowed to disagree on these things. And this is where I think people get a bit heated, because certain people have friends at Creative Assembly. I don't. So I can just look at the company as a whole based on their actions and their outcomes and go, this is a pretty awful company. Wasted $100 million on hyenas, fumbled the shit out of Shadows of Change, apology that meant nothing, and now they're going right. It seems like they're going right back to their old ways. And the thing is, because of that stuff that happened in Shadows of Change is why people are just going like ape shit now and not allowing, guys, it's only one mistake. It's only one mistake. Why do we wait until they've done 5 mistakes like this? Yeah. Like, what's the point? You know, as if do you really think that this isn't going to happen again? Like, it might be a little while, but it's going to happen again, because the structure in the company doesn't change. It's the structure that causes the problem. That's why I said that the AI problem is the symptom, not the cause. the cause is the management. If you don't deal with the management, the symptoms will keep reoccurring. Today it's a AI bug, tomorrow it's a mechanic that doesn't work, and then the next day it's costs are up, motherfuckers, buy it or else we'll cancel the game. It's always the same shit with just a tiny different flavor, but it's always just shit, and it's never going to change. And which is why I've gotten so exhausted with this company that I've given up on it, because I don't see any path to them being becoming better. Because yeah, like I said, 40K is coming soon, and it's just that if they get things wrong with that one, the 40K community, they are just so highly strong. It's so much worse than the Warhammer Fantasy fans, which are quite tame by comparison. And you know, I really can't imagine anything less enjoyable than being caught in the middle of the 40K fans, and they're like, "Legend, the boots on that Space Marine is the wrong kind of boot. We need to rail against Creative Assembly." And I'd just be like, "Dude, I don't fucking care about that at all." And I just you know, I can just imagine that's the kind of shit that they would argue about, or like, the law is slightly wrong on this, and you know, what if they add female custodians into it? I was like, oh my god, you know what I would love for Warhammer 40K? The gameplay might be actually quite good for it. I would love to just be a customer, like assuming I would even buy it. Let's just say I do buy it, and I just play it and I don't make content on it, and that way I don't have to get caught in the middle of it, because I don't enjoy how it is with the Warhammer Fantasy fans, but it's just gonna be so much worse with 40K. But anyway. So what is it, in summary, that I want? I'm advocating for my audience. I asked them if they thought it was a problem. They said it was definitely a problem. And then I said, that's how you get it sorted. And then they went and did that. And at least initially, it was all very, I think, very polite. It was probably the most polite review bombing I've ever seen. And then as these things go, they tend to build momentum, and people get into a frenzy, and what was originally polite starts to get a bit crazy. And you know, I probably contributed to that a fair bit yesterday, and I get that. So again, what am I wanting? I just wanted to advocate for my audience, because my audience have supported me, which means that I will support them on things that I don't care about. I don't care about what bugs in the game at the moment, because I'm not playing the game. It doesn't actually affect me, but I care about my audience. I'm advocating for them because they advocate for me. That's it. So whatever they want, that's in my best interest as well. I'll fight for them as well. That's it. It just comes down to that. If they think this is a problem, then I think it's a problem. And again, I think it's a problem because of the management, and I'm not doing anything about it. I'm just saying, that's what I think you could do if you wanted to get things adjusted. And of course, people take issue with that. And that's fine. You're allowed to. I'm not advocating for other people's audiences. You can go and do that. I'm advocating for my audience, and only for my audience. And I think that's really important to note. And it's up to them if they want to do it. I can't force them to do anything. Like if I've got a problem with the game, and I say, audience, go and attack Creative Assembly, and they don't personally care about that, they won't do it. Do you know how difficult it is for me to fucking control my audience? I can't do it at all. So how this channel works is that we try to treat each other like adults. We go, is this important to you? And they go, yeah. I was like, okay, we'll go do that. That's it. Anyway, so next thing is going on to Lawmaster of Sotek, who's, I think he's flipping out a little bit here. I'm not mad at him for this stuff here. But yeah, let's just go through it, and I'll just address it. So on his live stream yesterday, there's a Twitter thing that will go sort of attached to this, but this is before the Twitter thing in terms of the timeline with this. It's when we look back at this, I hope we can laugh, because it's so silly. But anyway, I'm just going to play this first, like this minute here, because it seems like this is the most succinct bit of what I've seen, where he addresses what his issues are, and then I'll address those issues, and then we'll move on to something else. Okay, let's move on to this. Oh yeah, so the game sound is a bit too loud. Can't do anything about that.
I really hate when people have really bad faith takes about things.
Okay, so really bad faith takes about things. What is a bad faith take? Everyone's going to have a different opinion, what this thing is, if you're going to say it's a bad faith take, how was it a bad faith take? I'm more than happy to take accountability for a bad faith take, but what am I doing that's bad faith? I don't know. Like I don't care about the game anymore, so whatever. Again, some of this stuff here, because this left's kind of vague, there's a degree of talking about me. This is the problem. Sometimes he's talking about me, sometimes he's talking about my audience, and it all just get lumped together, and I don't know which one he's referring to with the audience and which one he's referring to me, because it's not being specific enough. So I'll just address it all as if it was to me, and then you guys can address it if you want as if it was to you as well. And yeah, we can see over here with his audience, Legend has earned a reckoning of a call out. Hey, if you feel like I should be called out, you go for it. All the more power to you. If you've got me on something, call me out on it. Tell me where I've gone wrong, and let's knuckle this out. Metaphorically speaking, I don't mean let's actually fight, but by all means, please go and do that. It'd be so hypocritical of me to be pushing for pretty harsh accountability on Creative Assembly if I'm earning a reckoning. And I'm like, no, don't give me a reckoning. Bury it under the sand or whatever. No, if you feel like I need to, like if Sotek feels like you got to call me out, by all means, please do it, dude. And I'll address those issues. We'll see how we go.
And they kick up a storm of massive amounts of negativity.
Massive amounts of negativity, which in and itself isn't really a bad thing, because there's negative things to, if you're negative about something, that just, how is that bad? But anyway, I might be just nitpicking here.
And refuse to be reasonable.
Refusing to be reasonable, right? But the problem is that they're not, when it comes to me, nobody is reasoning with me. I'm more than happy to have these conversations. More than happy to do so. But nobody reasons with me. I wasn't able to reason with Creative Assembly. It was one-way conversation. It was fall in line and shut up. That's not reason with. How am I supposed to reason with that? Is reason with just agree with other people's takes? Because that's not the definition of reason with. If you disagree with me on anything, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you about where you think I'm going wrong. But you've actually got to address an issue that I've actually had, and not just make up something, which is what a lot of people are doing. I can't address a point I didn't make. I'd just be like, well, okay, have that take. I can't address that.
The people that are like, oh, well, they should never release content unless the game is perfect. It's okay, first of all.
So I haven't seen anyone say that. I didn't say that. I haven't seen anyone say it. This is the definition of a straw man. Who the fuck is saying this? One person out of 100,000, maybe? Nobody is saying that. Everyone expects, especially with a game this complex, that there's going to be issues. But there's a difference between, Greasus Goldtooth having 400 speed and entire factions being lobotomized and being unable to do anything for the entirety of the campaign. And then arguing, of course, oh, but it's a recruitment issue. I don't care what it's causing it, Look, hey, let me tell you a story. There's this person I knew, and they had a breathing issue. And they weren't able to do anything. But they weren't dead. They just weren't able to breathe at all. But they didn't have I'm obviously being really stupid with this. Arguing about a symptom instead of the cause, you're not addressing the real problem. The problem was that the AI wasn't doing anything. Whether it's a recruitment issue or whatever, it's still an AI issue. It's the AI has to recruit. It's part of what they need to be doing. It's an AI issue. What the specifics are, not my problem. If you care about that, by all means, care about it. But I don't have to care about that. I didn't care about the thing in the first place.
Oh, that's never going to happen. Because this game is built on spaghetti code. So it's always going to have problems.
Yes, it's always going to have problems. So when a patch comes out that makes the problems worse, that were flagged during the beta, which is the whole point of the beta, why did it get pushed out? That's the big question. I'm not saying that they can't ever have issues, but why do they push? Why do they make it worse and just ignore feedback? Because that's what happened, right? Because I wasn't involved with it. I didn't log into the beta. I haven't played a proper campaign in Total War Warhammer 3 in ages. All I'm doing, trying to advocate for my audience and advocate for people that are saying that they've been trying to point this out for ages and they're not being listened to. I understand what that feels like, especially with Creative Assembly. I know what it's like to feel like you're screaming into the void. They absolutely do that. Now, maybe that's not been Sotek's experience, and I know that they are very receptive to Sotek, but Creative Assembly has very selective way of doing their feedback. Sometimes they listen to it, sometimes they don't. And it can be very frustrating when they provide no explanation as to what the criteria is that they're willing to listen to. And, it can be very frustrating and lead to outrage. But anyway, let's keep listening.
And there's no way to get around that. That's just something we have to deal with. And that the most extreme problems have to constantly get fixed. But
yes, the most extreme problems have to constantly get fixed. Like the AI not working, right? I feel like we're on the same page, right?
But also, you're the same fucking people that are throwing a bitch fit about the idea that, oh, CA, it's a content drought. Oh, it's a content drought.
What? When was the... Okay. I can only speak for myself. Have I once, in the past year, bitched about a content drought? Different people are going to care about different things. You can't just lump them all into one group. It's like, this is the group. Everybody that I disagree with, big one group, and they all share the same opinion. It's not the same people. Because the people that are like, it's a content drought, well, then they're going to prioritize wanting the DLC stuff over the patch. It's otherwise extraordinarily inconsistent. So it's not the same people. There is this thing called nuance, and our entire community is not a hive mind. It's important that everybody's issues are sorted, not just one group of people, but at the same time, people need to feel like they're being heard. Creative Assembly definitely ignores a lot of issues, and this is just one instance where those who feel ignored have spoken out again.
It's a content drought. And it's like, okay, oh, the game's a bit loud, thank you. And it's like, well, which is it? Which is it?
Which is it? Real simple. Everyone has different opinions. Some people think it's a content drought, and that's their major concern. Some people are concerned with the state of the game. And some people don't give a shit about what's going on whatsoever. That's the category I'm in. I don't care about the content drought. Like, DLC could come tomorrow or 5 months from now. It's irrelevant to me. So, I mean, that's the category I'm in. Again, I can't speak for everyone else. All I can do is just assume that he's talking about me, but also I know he's talking to like a huge group of people that cannot be lumped into one category. You just can't do that.
Do you want them to focus on putting out more stuff and fix things as they go? Or do you want them to make the game, the base, like, do you want them to just focus on making the base game, like, fixing the bugs that you're personally having a problem with?
Yep. So I don't personally have a problem with the AI bug, because again, we're not having a conversation, so obviously he can't know I was going to respond to this. Again, I'm not mad at Sotek. Just trying to address it. I don't personally care about it. The thing that I'm pushing for is for people to just speak their mind and for people to be held accountable. That's it. That wasn't even an option here. I want people to be held accountable, including me. Give me my reckoning if you feel like that's what I deserve. I'm gonna do my best to practice what I preach. If you feel like I have in any way acted in bad faith, call me out, because if the value of your words are correct, my audience will call me out. They'll turn on me, because that's exactly what they've done all the fucking time. And that's why I'm like, I try so hard to advocate for them. Like, I know them pretty well, not like everyone's degree of difference, but on average, I know them all pretty well, and what they like and what they don't like. So I advocate for that, and sometimes I get it right, and sometimes I get it wrong. And when I get it wrong, they call me out on it. I mean, just look what happened with Warhammer 3, the launch of it. My audience was not happy with the way that I handled it. I tried to take accountability for that as best as I could, and I didn't let it happen again. And there was an opportunity for it to happen again with Civilization 7, and I made the decision not to fall into that trap. I learnt from my mistake. This is why it's so important to take accountability. But anyway, so what I want, accountability for those that have made mistakes. Now, accountability doesn't mean capital punishment or they deserve to be fired. They've got to acknowledge when they've made a friggin' mistake, and the mistake isn't that the bug got into the game. The mistake was that they didn't address it when it was first flagged, because it was clearly a huge issue. It's been in the game for, I don't know, weeks, months, I just don't know. It's a long time. It was flagged a long time ago, and they ignored it for the most part. And if they had this level of communication to begin with, this whole thing would have been avoided.
And not releasing any new content. Which is it? You can't have both.
You're absolutely right. You can't have both. I don't think anyone's arguing for both. I mean, you tell me who's arguing for both. In the comments, let me know if you want both, so I can ban you. I'm just kidding.
There's only so... Oh my god, it makes me so mad, dude.
He's making himself mad. Like, he's built up this idea of something that I think doesn't exist. Or if it does exist, it's such a tiny, tiny group of people. And, like, you're making yourself mad about this stuff. Like, you're hurt. Calm down. It's okay. You'll be fine.
They're so idiotic.
You're right. They would be idiotic if they existed.
Such a bad take. It's like, well, why doesn't CA just use their infinite resources and...
What? Nobody thinks that they have infinite resources. I've constantly argued for Creative Assembly that there are certain things that they have to cut corners. I've even advocated. I got shit during the Medieval 2 remastered push, and said that I don't think that Creative Assembly should focus on updating the AI because they're going to have limited resources. Like, I've made this point so many... I give Creative Assembly plenty of leeway with all this stuff. I've never said that they've got unlimited resources, and I never see the community assume that they do, especially after all that shit with hyenas.
Infinite employees and infinite time to fix everything at once. And it's like, bitch, do you not remember they went through a double redundancy?
Yeah, they went through a double redundancy, right? And then Thrones of Decay came out. And then 7, 8, 9 months after that, Omens of Destruction came out. And then it's it's going to be nearly a year now since what's it called? Omens of Destruction before Tides of Torment comes out. There's been a decline in productivity, it would seem. Now, I can explain pretty much how that's happened. I think, just theorizing, is that team members that were used to a certain workflow have been shifted off to Warhammer 40k, and team members who were not used to a workflow have been added into it, and they're trying to catch up, mainly CA Sophia, but I don't know the ins and outs of it. But I think in past videos I've tried to explain that. I've not pushed for them to this DLC early. Again, he's possibly not addressing this to me.
Not that long ago, they've been releasing constant patches, and
yeah, there's nothing wrong with constant patches, unless the patches are shit and make the game go backwards. Then it's a problem. Like, nobody forces them to do the patches. Like, here's the thing. If I said, look, it's constant content coming out, but the content was shit, I think that's a problem. The problem isn't that they're not doing constant patches. The patches should maybe slow down and actually not have massive issues that then force them to have to go back and deal with it across multiple raids, because they're spreaded. The initial issue, I think, was originally isolated to Beastmen. If they had fixed this issue with the Beastmen freaking months, if not years ago, then when they imported whatever code from the Beastmen onto other ones, they essentially import an infection. And this is why they've got this spaghetti code. They don't address a error or a bug in one thing, and then they copy paste it into something else, because there's a lot of mechanics that are just overlap with, I mean, you guys know with all this, I mean, so many mechanics are reused. And so if one has a disease, you're importing it to another faction, and then it could have been one person that dealt with that, and then that person gets shifted off to another project, and then another person comes in and goes, fuck, where are the notes? Where's this disease? And that other person's working at McDonald's now because they got made redundant. It's if they could just deal with these problems quicker, it would actually save them so much time in the long run. And these are very simple business things. It's like, you don't let your house fill up with shit because it gets worse over time. It's much easier to keep your house clean all the time, to a relative degree, and then let it rot to the foundations before you do anything about it. The thing is with Total War Warhammer is the coding is rotting at the core. Every single time there's like this, they can't make a single change without everything falling apart. If they had just cleaned their house as they went, sure, it might have meant that the patches would have been a bit slower to begin with, but I think things would have a much gentler flow now. But, they're not going to change this stuff because it's all about the deadlines and just getting it out and getting those pay pigs to buy the fucking money.
Every single patch has had free LC in it.
Who cares? I don't care about FLC. Like, that's not important. Look, some people will care. Fine. Whatever.
Every single patch has had free LC in it. Like, what the fuck do you want?
So here's what you do. You find someone, an individual, you ask them what they want, and they'll tell you. And then you have to move on to the next person, and then the next person. You have to do that 100,000 times, right? That's how you find out what they want. And that's why I make a video, I ask a question, do you guys think it's a big deal? And then 10,000 people say, no, it's not a big deal. And then 50,000 people say, it is a big deal. And then those 50,000 people go and review bomb the game or whatever it is. Because not a hive mind. Anyway, at this point here, it'll mostly go in circles with this kind of stuff. But I think Sotek, for the most part, is... I can understand his frustration because he clearly loves Total War Warhammer and Warhammer as a franchise more than I do. And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I mean, look, he's playing it right now, right? Everyone needs a break from that game. And sometimes it can be frustrating, and I understand how this feels, to have something you love get attacked, especially when you're very close to Creative Assembly and they are getting attacked by someone. Like, let's be real, I've been attacking Creative Assembly a lot because I'm not fond of Creative Assembly. I've had extraordinarily bad experiences with them. The experience that I've had and the experience that Sotek's had is completely different. Like, I'll give you a bit of information, like in terms of the key difference. Like, there was at one point a very secret, super secret early access, like beta branch that some creators were in. I've heard this from multiple different people. I don't want to mention who they are, so this is all conjecture, so take it with a pinch of salt. But I got enough evidence if I wanted to point out. I was not invited into this group. This group was paid to beta test the stuff, to specifically find bugs. This is while I was in the partner program, so this was 2020 to 2023, I don't know, because I wasn't in it, I wasn't informed about it. And Sotek was in this group. Multiple people I spoke to mentioned he was in this group. Now, obviously, he signed an NDA, so he's never going to be allowed to mention that. I didn't sign an NDA. I can mention it. And so... they have been his employer, and so he would have a degree of attachment to them. But I don't have that degree of attachment to them. I was not ever informed about that. I was completely left out of it. I'm pretty good at finding some of these bugs, by the way. I found a few bugs in my time. But yeah, I was not included in that. Me and Sotek have had a very different experience with Creative Assembly. And so naturally, he is going to be very happy towards them and defend them because they're his buddies, and I am going to be very hostile towards them because they're not my buddies. It's just different experiences. And look, I don't know why I wasn't invited to it. Maybe things would have turned out differently if I was. Maybe not. You just never know with these things. It's just hindsight. It's in the past. Whatever. But these experiences shape us because, think about it in terms of our biases. You're always more likely to defend a friend as opposed to defend an enemy. We've gone over that plenty of times before. So I understand where he's coming from with the different experiences with this stuff, which is why I'm not mad at him for this stuff at all. And I wanted to address it because he seems like he's really frustrated, and I don't want him to be in pain with this stuff. So I'd want to try to address it. And look, if anyone in the community feels like I'm being a shit, contact me and we'll have an argument. Unless, of course, you're so brittle that you can't argue with someone. Like, I'm not going to punch you in the face. I'm happy to have an argument with you. But if you're going to use emotional arguments, like, that's not going to work. So because I deal with all this stuff with Creative Assembly. If you come to me and say, what you say makes me upset, I don't fucking care. Like, it just doesn't fucking matter how you feel. Like, I'm not in control of your feelings. Like, be a fucking man. Control your own fucking feelings, you know? You can feel whatever you want, but if I say something and I believe it and you're upset by it, I don't care, basically. It's not my job to police feelings, or tone police. I just don't give a shit about that. I don't care about optics. I care about results. That's the main thing. So if you want to argue with me and you don't come at it with like a results-based argument, I'm not really going to be very receptive to you. Just like, I'll talk to you, but you're not going to make much progress with me. If you like, Legend, what you say is very hurtful. I fucking don't care. You know, I really don't care. But anyway, so then there's the stuff with Twitter that happened. And I'm going to show you guys because it is hilarious. But like, I really think Sotek needs to, I think maybe he needs a bit of help. As in, it could use some kind words, not what actually happened. Because sometimes the solution to stuff here isn't more insults, it's actually a bit of understanding. I understand where he's coming from because I've been in the partner program and I've spoken to other partners and I kind of understand what he's feeling here. But yeah, just showing it, this is going to get pretty silly. But yeah, just going on Twitter here. So he posted this stuff here. I should zoom in a bit, it's a bit zoomed out. Understand certain loud elements of the community wants this particular concern addressed. And where was it? Then there was this bit down here that I drew issue with. I gotta find it though. I think it's here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Wait. Oh God, where is it? Yeah, here it is. I'm looking right at it. The only thing that changed is that they slowed down the exciting stuff because you can't be patient adult for a week or two. And then I'm going to have to find my tweet response to it because it's one of those. But if you click on it, it doesn't just take you straight to it. But I've just got to find it real quick. Okay, easy enough to find. So then this is very silly, all of this. This is going to seem unbelievably petty. This whole conversation, it's just ridiculous. I mean, this is Twitter. What do you expect? So Sotek is very vocal about things that interest and concern him, but if it doesn't interest him, then those people are loud and not being an adult, obviously drawing attention to this. And then I said, basically, I tried to use his own logic to help him to understand where he was going wrong. When your channel got hacked a while back, maybe you should have been an adult and waited a few more weeks. I'm obviously being fucking silly with that because, I don't have premium. He does. I had a limit to how much I could put into this tweet, and then I had to put in another one. It said, I think it's perfectly fine for him to not care about the issue. I personally don't care about it either. When his channel was hacked, we all shouted loudly at YouTube to fix it, and it got done right away. And that was what should have happened. So people are loud and not being an adult when it's stuff that you don't care about. But when it is stuff that you care about, obviously his channel, then obviously that's fine. And the solution is that if there's something that's a concern, being loud about it gets things done. That's the whole point. And I think everybody bloody got that, except for Sotek. So then I got to show his response, which is, okay, we'll get to it. And then we've got this one here, which, oh man, this has got to be the dumbest thing I've ever read. So he says, so I want to be sure to understand this. I believe that when you offer criticism and critique to someone, the adult and responsible thing is to be kind about it, about a video game. Okay. Which is what I said in the first video. And your response is to say, I deserve to have my livelihood and career stolen, that I shouldn't have had people try to help from thieves trying to ruin my life. I didn't say that. Costs you nothing to just use basic manners and not be a jerk, but clearly that has always been too expensive of a price for you. Fuck you, dude. I didn't say that. It was literally the opposite of what I meant. And, like, I was there retweeting and telling people, get YouTube's attention so they could, get his account back. I stand by that. And unfortunately, it seems like at this point here, Sotek may have logged off the internet. And then, oh my god, the amount of shit that's going here. Like, I like this one here because this is it. He completely missed the point. And then it just gets deranged at this point here. And people are just yelling at him. And I'm feeling real bad about this because it's just like, I don't want this at all. And I then clarified it a bit further, but he hasn't at least at this stage here, seemingly logged on. And this was only 20 hours ago. So then I responded with, holy crap, read the second part. I have a limit to how much I could put in one post. I don't have premium. I said it was good that the entire community shouted at YouTube and you got your channel back. I'd never want anyone to lose their livelihood. The point was trying to make that being loud gets things done quickly. I wish it wasn't like that, but it's the way it works. And you know it works. That's the whole point. So I think you completely missed the point on all that. And this was all just very silly. So I think that what's happening here with Sotek, I want to try to give him as much of the benefit of the doubt as possible, and and say kind of sorry with that one here, because maybe this could have been a bit more clear. Because I understand how sometimes sarcasm doesn't come across well in text. Again, all of his people told him to just scroll down, and he said that he wanted to understand it, and then took next to no effort to understand it at all. I mean, it's not what I said at all. So, the whole thing just makes me feel really bad. But I understand, like, he relies very heavily on the early access stuff. It's been nearly a year since early access, no news and stuff, and so he's playing Final Fantasy 105 or whatever it is, instead of covering the stuff that he wants to cover, which is the new DLC. And I've thrown a spanner in the works, and that's possibly going to delay the DLC, or at least delay the news, and that's affecting his bottom line. So it's caused him to maybe crash out a little bit. I understand it. But I think this is spiraling out of control because there's now a Reddit post on the Our Total War Warhammer subreddit. I don't want to bring that one up because that one's not particularly nice. But it is there, and they've gone, and if we could have a look over here, if you have a look over here, we see a lot of people commenting on his stuff here. Yeah. Like, I didn't tell people to go do this. I don't want to see this. And it's just, this is what I'm talking about, was it spiraling out of control. And then if we go back to Twitter, hang on, let me just bring it back up. And if we go back to Twitter here, with this, if we start having a look down here, we start to see some pretty ridiculous stuff. It's down here somewhere, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, so we start to see this. So we've reached that point where it's no longer polite discussion, it's just pure outrage. And it's like people are out with a vengeance. And this is where the shit flinging comes into effect. And look, I can't tell people what to do. I think it's really important that people understand this. I can only control my own actions. I can influence people one way or another, but I can't control them. I cannot tell people to stop this shit. They have to, I mean, I can ask them to do it, but I can't force them to stop it. Please stop this. It's not helpful. It'd be good if we could, look, if we've got disagreements, that's totally fine. Let's discuss it calmly, and let's not flip the fuck out straight away. That would be a good way of dealing with it, because obviously I've got issues with how Total War does things. Other people have got issues with how Total War does things. People have got issues with how I do things. I'm more than happy to have those conversations. You gotta come at it with good faith and, like, not straw man it to that extent. It's otherwise you can't have a conversation. Like, I can't address something that I didn't say, right? And then just going back to this one here. So another issue. This isn't that big of an issue. This is why I've left it to last. Look, if you're not one of my viewers and you don't want to watch everything that I say, you're probably not watching this bit here right now. But if someone could, like, maybe I'll use a time code for those people. I don't know. I don't know how to get it through their fucking thick head. If you don't watch the video where I explained it, and you instead got your information on Reddit, and then you come and attack that information that you got from Reddit, I can't do anything with that. I can't help you, right? So I'm going to bring up a couple of examples. Just going to pause the recording here and just find. They're very easy to find. I don't want to go through everything. Okay, so what I've just done is just gone like read a lot of, because there's a lot of comments on this one. But one of the main things that I'm seeing a lot of, it wasn't the original thing I was going to address first, but lots of CA have pride flags in their biopic. Guys, get over it. Who cares? Like, is it really that important? It should have no bearing on this whatsoever. I mean, people can care about whatever they want and don't want. Like, is this really a big deal? But whatever. But one thing that notice throughout some of the comments, it's actually a bit less than I thought. And I knew that this would happen. I mentioned it in the video. Is a number of people saying, like, I thought you quit, bro. And so this is endemic of what the part of the problem is with the with having a conversation. Is people are attacking something that I haven't said, or they're missing some context when I said that I'm quitting like on the 1st of January, and they're like, and it's going to happen in this video as well. You just watch. Bro, you said you were going to go. Why you keep coming back? Like, I don't know how many times I'm going to say it. Like, January 1st. Like, at the very beginning of the video. I can't control the lack of information that people get from Reddit. And, like, people should really try hard to stop getting angry at something that somebody was said that was told to you from someone else. And I feel like that's part of what is happening with Sotek, is that he might be getting his information from the Reddit. I don't know. Maybe he's getting it straight from the videos. I'm not entirely sure. And like building the straw man up and then attacking it. I can't do anything with that. I can't argue with it. It's important to be intellectually honest when we have these conversations. And that's what that's what I wanted to mention here. You can absolutely have a go at me if you think there's anything I've been inconsistent about. Not a problem whatsoever. But man, I can't argue against a point I didn't make. I just can't do it. So, don't put words in my mouth. I can't argue against it. It's like, it's just the definition of futility. And again, we're seeing so much of this. I'm not going to call it negativity. I call it shit flinging between different groups. And I don't really want to see that with the Total War thing. Like, it comes down to this. If you don't have an issue with Creative Assembly, then just stay out of it. You don't need to defend them. They're a fucking huge corporation. They don't need you to defend them. If you do have a problem with Creative Assembly, take your issue to Creative Assembly and only to Creative Assembly. There are ways for you to have that conversation. You can do through negative reviews. If you've got a problem with people posting a negative review, don't post a negative review. That's all you can't control what other people do. You can tell them that you don't like that they're doing that, and they can go, suck my dick. You can't do anything about it. Like I said, I didn't do it. I didn't put a negative review because I don't care. I just told people what they can do. That's what I want to do. I want to tell you what you can do and what will work and what won't work. What won't work is going to Creative Assembly. Fuck you. That won't work. And I mentioned that in the very first friggin' video. What will work is things like these. And you can sit there and say that we shouldn't be doing that, but don't care about optics, care about results. If you don't like that this is the way to get results, then allow the community a different avenue that works. I understand that Creative Assembly has got these set up ways for people to provide feedback, but it clearly isn't functioning. It was my problem when I was working in the partner program. The way to provide feedback wasn't working, and so I stopped using it because only a stupid person uses something that doesn't work. So you have to find something that does work, and it leads to maybe results that you don't like. So if we can come together and have conversations a bit more open and honestly and focus on results rather than optics, things will get done a lot better. Again, hold Creative Assembly accountable, hold me accountable, hold everyone accountable. Try to have a bit of mercy as well. I get it that a lot of people will see the Sotek stuff and will just like immediately be like, Sotek's in the wrong. It's totally unnecessary. He probably just misread it. Like, I realize I just said Reddit. But look, I don't know. I haven't had the conversation with him. I posted my response. He hasn't responded back. He could just be asleep for 20 hours. That happens with him sometimes. But it's like when I saw his own audience having like 60 replies on that, and some of them are pretty freaking mean, and there's a whole Reddit thread. I'm just like, oh man, I want people to stop. Please stop. Please stop it, guys. There's no need for it whatsoever. Like, in terms of standing up to CA, Sotek's not your dude, okay? Obviously. If you want my current recommendation for who you should throw your support behind, it's Lionheart. Obviously, it's Lionheart, okay? Because, let me show you something. This is Lionheart's take, right? I reposted it, and I had nothing to add to it. I didn't have a response to it, because it's perfect. Like, as far as I'm concerned, it's like a reasonable take. I can't argue against it because I just agree with it. You know, we don't agree on everything, but I think that this is your dude going forward. So yeah, go and follow Lionheart. Check him a subscribe. He's got his full thoughts on the community tab. I read that as well. It's just reasoned, well thought out. It might work. It's different to how I do things, but I take the bull by the horn and I headbutt him. That's not everyone's approach, and I get that, but that's my approach, and it works for me. So I just do what works. If this works, great. But what isn't going to work is flying off the handle about shit that people didn't say. So there's a right way to go about it and a wrong way to go about it, and there's a spectrum in between as well. And I don't know where I stand in that spectrum, and I don't know where Lionheart is on that spectrum. We find it out by discussing. Anyway, I hope that with this we can cool things down a little bit, but by all means, you do whatever you're going to do. I can't control you, but just remember the results will not be good if you fly off the handle. They'll be better if you be critical of whatever you want. Just calm down a little bit. I really don't feel like in the first two videos I was like flying off the handles or anything, but I do get judged for the actions of people that I've inspired to behave a certain way. I can't control that. I'm not responsible for my audience. No, you're only ever responsible for your own action. People like blaming me for the actions of something that I didn't do. Again, I can't argue with that. I didn't endorse it. What do you want me to do? Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. I hope we've cleared things up. Appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Later, guys.